Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be on the same platform as Sheikh Ramsey. He stole my thunder just a second ago regarding the interfaith run. What is it? He's 21, you know, and I'm like, you know, he was outrunning me, I have to tell you. He was absolutely brilliant. Thank you. Javid, Chair, Salam Alaikum. Assalamu Alaikum. Thank you very much for your warmth and kind introduction to this very important event, which is once again bringing this often forgotten issue back onto our radar and onto the agenda for our understanding and for our action. Before I start, I must state that I'm not by any means an expert on this issue, but what I am is a Jew whose people and history were once slaves in Egypt. And this event, which we celebrate annually on the Passover, is etched into my belief and my heritage. It's why I will continue to advocate for those suffering this outrage, whoever and wherever they are. What I do hope to restate to you today is that all faiths have in their scriptures and their texts specific doctrines that condemn slavery and these atrocious offences. I'm also delighted to acknowledge that one of the utmost achievements as Barnet Multi-Faith Forum is that the Universal Peace Federation, the sponsors of this event, have recognised our previous Vice Chair and Young Faith Forum graduate, Proper Anwar, as one of your youth ambassadors. Proper is an incredible example of a young person who continues to achieve some wonderful work in advocating for social cohesion, education, multi-faith development here in the UK and abroad. As you helpfully mentioned, I'm actually president of Barnet Multi-Faith Forum. Are we joining? I'm glad we got more people joining us. And one of our first public meetings ever of this new era of ours was to highlight the terrible iniquities of human trafficking and modern-day slavery. This was reflected in the address given by Mia Henderson Gross, director of Reni Kassan, a Jewish charity which actively engages in promoting and protecting human rights as enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Drawing upon Jewish experiences and values, Monsieur Reni Kassan was a French Jew and co-author of the actual Universal Declaration document and Nobel Peace Prize winner, a recipient. A month after our meeting, the then Prime Minister, Theresa May, brought the Modern Day Slavery Act into force. This act delivered new penalties to victims. The act forced businesses to show that the modern slavery is not taking place in their companies and supply chains. And she continues to advocate on this issue of genuine victims of trafficking and modern slavery by not implementing a court ruling confirming these people have the right to remain in the UK whilst their claims were pending. And so that's why we will continue to advocate, all of us, on behalf of the victims of this horrific crime. Human trafficking, often referred to as modern-day slavery, is a grave violation of human rights, impacting upon millions of individuals. And this illicit trade, as you mentioned, involves the exploitation of people through coercion, deception, or force, such as forced labour, sexual exploitation, involuntary servitude in contemporary society. And we need to stop it. We're subtitled here, How Religions Can Help Eradicate. And I suppose the purpose of my talk tonight is to explain to you how other faiths in their texts actually have an understanding of what the issue is about. So historically, religion played a dual role in the context of slavery. You mentioned various religious texts and doctrines have both justified and condemned the practice. For instance, during the transatlantic slave trade, some Christian groups interpreted the Bible to rationalize slavery, while others, of course, such as the abolitionists, used their faith to campaign vehemently against it. Today, the Christian faith provides a strong, moral, ethical foundation for condemning modern-day slave trafficking, and scriptural references emphasize the inherent dignity and worth of human beings, advocating for the protection of the oppressed. Christian tradition continues guiding modern efforts to combat human trafficking. Islamic teaching, as you mentioned, and I'm not teaching you to suck eggs, etc., but I think it's worthwhile for a Jewish person to actually state that, firmly denounces human trafficking and modern-day slavery, advocating the dignity and the freedom of every individual. The Quran and the Hadiths provide clear guidance on the human treatment of others and the prohibition of oppression. Islam emphasizes the principles of equality and the inherent worth of all human beings. In his final sermon, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, highlighted the importance of human rights, stating, "All mankind is from Adam and Eve. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, nor does a non-Arab have any superiority over an Arab. White has no superiority over black, nor does a black have any superiority over a white. None have superiority over another except by piety and good actions." These historic perspectives have deeply influenced contemporary religious understanding and Islamic responses to modern-day slavery, of which Sheikh is a pure, highly eminent example of that. The Jewish religion, with its rich history and extensive legal and ethical teachings, offer a significant perspective on human trafficking and modern-day slavery. The Torah, the central reference of the Jewish law, includes numerous injunctions against the mistreatment of others and calls for the protection of the vulnerable. The Torah explicitly condemns the act of kidnapping a person and taking them into slavery and taking them into hostages. Additionally, the Jewish concept of pikuach nefesh, the saving of a life, exceeds almost any other commandment, and the importance of maintaining a just and compassionate society, and this underscores the imperative to combat human trafficking. The Talmud further exemplificates and reinforces these principles, advocating the dignity and the freedom of every individual. These efforts are rooted in the ethical imperatives of Jewish law and the historical experience of the Jewish people, which I've mentioned, who have themselves faced persecution and enslavement. The Ten Commandments serves not only as a moral directive, but also as a fundamental covenant between God and the people of Israel. The first commandment, "I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage." This directly links the authority of these laws to the divine act of liberation. This reminder of their redemption from slavery underscores the importance of freedom and justice within the Jewish legal system. The Dharmic religions, including Buddhism, Hinduism, Zoroastrianism, Baha'i, and Jainism, offer profound perspectives on human trafficking and modern-day slavery. In Buddhism, the core principles of ahimsa, non-violence, fundamentally opposes any form of exploitation and harm towards others, which inherently condemns these practices. Buddhist communities around the world have engaged in various initiatives to fight human trafficking. Hinduism and the strong advocates for the dignity and freedom of every individual through its emphasis on dharma, a rightful duty. Additionally, the concept of Vasudha Havi and Kutumbakam, which means the world is one family, fosters a sense of universal brotherhood and solidarity against its injustices. Jainism, with its rigorous commitment to non-violence and the sanctity of life, unequivocally rejects any form of slavery and human trafficking. The Jain community actively participates in human efforts and social injustices, leveraging their religious principles to combat modern forms of enslavement. Zoroastrianism, one of the world's oldest continually practiced religions dating back to the ancient Persian Empire offers a compelling ethical framework that vehemently opposes human trafficking and modern-day slavery. I was going to tell you an initiative that happened to me when I was making a speech at my to-be son-in-law's wedding. I had 4 pages of script. I thought I was going to try and be brief, because the 4 pages of script actually went scattering all over the floor. He got up and he started his speech, and he says, staples. So it's my memory of that speech was he encouraged me all the time to put the staples together, but sometimes you can't turn them over fast enough. So I'm getting to the end, so bear with me for a few minutes. The Baha'i faith, founded in the 19th century, promotes the principles of oneness of human justice and inherent dignity of every individual, in which justice is their central pillar, in creating a harmonious and just society. These Dharmic traditions collectively emphasize non-violence, justice, and the intrinsic worth of every individual. Their teachings continue to inspire contemporary efforts against human trafficking and modern-day slavery, reflecting an enduring commitment to the protection of the human dignity and the promotion of universal well-being. And I just want to reiterate Martin's point of us coming together, the point of, I think, tonight, of all faiths working together for this terrible injustice. So in conclusion, we've just witnessed all the major religions of the world not only teach from their scriptures and combating human trafficking and modern-day slavery are global issues requiring collective action. The importance of this conference today reflects this multi-faith reaction to this horrific universal crime against humanity, and the significance that the coming together of our faith communities possess in tackling this issue. This collaborative approach amplifies the impact of our efforts and fosters a sense of solidarity in the fight against exploitation. Through advocacy, education, support for the victims, and collaboration to combat these practices promotes a world where every person is free from exploitation and ability to live with dignity, and by adhering to the principles of unity, justice, and compassion. Humanity can overcome these grave injustices, and by us working together, we can build a better future for us all. Thank you. Salam, shalom, and peace.